Let's look at Super League Gaming because there's a pretty important pattern in play right here and right now. So first off, read this disclaimer carefully. Then do your good deed of the day by liking and subscribing. So here is their website. So they are in the esports business. They are a pretty interesting contender, but there definitively is competition. We will look at the chart pretty soon. And what is happening right now is a really big deal for this company. So here is the theme. Super League Gaming, 12% here from the 52-week low, but we are 70% away from the highs here. So a very big sell-off, and you see that the average loss here for this theme, minus 75%. So yeah, esports, it will be a place where there will be some winners, but there will also be those who go to zero. So yeah, we start by looking at the chart, Super League Gaming. So the reason why this stock is interesting is that it has a bit of a tendency to have rallies after bigger sell-offs that are like good trading opportunities. Like here as an example, you get a rally of 54%. Then you go into the red, so you have to lock in the gains when they come. This rally here, 145-ish percent. So there can be some pretty big moves within a downtrend for this stock. So it is very tradable, but it is definitively a stock where you need to manage that position. Yeah, you definitively can't diamond hand this stock. So what is very interesting though is this low. This is a bit of a big double bottom. It's pretty clean. It seems like the traders are also reacting to it. This candlestick looks a lot like this one. We have a bit of a tepid green candle here. We had it back here as well. Looking at the dailies, and we are comparing this with this. You see that you had this rally here before the sell-off, and then the big move here, you had the sell-off, and there could be something analogous. You can also see that here and here you had a bit of a double bottom. And also this is not like a clean double bottom, but there is a tendency for there to be like rallies after sell-offs, which makes this stock pretty interesting. Earnings, that's 16th of August, so still quite some time into the future, so you shouldn't be like concerned about trading right into the earnings. Looking at RSI, we are still relatively low, but there's been a bit of an uptick. But yeah, generally speaking, we are pretty low also on the PPOs. On the daily data points, we did rally from support. You see back here, which is back here, we got a tiny rally. Back here, we had a much more substantial rally from this RSI level, the 30 level. So yeah, we are moving from RSI support. Accumulation distribution is, however, still very weak. So we don't have like a lot of buyers yet. We do have a buy signal on the MACD, but we're not like out of the woods. We basically just have a double bottom and some corroborating data on the technicals that favor a bullish thesis. So Super League Gaming, we do have the double bottom. That is like the primary signal. You could also make the case that we had RSI support, and that was on the daily data points. But that move, it's a bit in the past, not too far in the past, but yeah, that move is in development. I will give the technicals, I give the bulls a 7, but that is of course contingent on us staying above the right side of that double bottom. If we were to go below it, that would just be really, really bad. And next off, we look at the seasonality. So we are currently in July. 6% loss so far for July. July, it usually is a bearish month for the stock. August, we don't have that much data. The last 2 years were not that bad, but before that it was pretty bad. September is also pretty weak. But broadly speaking, this stock has been in a pretty systematic downtrend for some time, so we do expect red numbers. But the seasonality is not bullish. The caveat is that we already have a significant loss for July, and June was the worst June ever for the stock. So that increases the probability that a lot of bad news are priced in, and that it could be due for a rebound. So in this case, I will give the bulls a minus. I will give the bears a -3. I would have given them a lot more if we didn't have already a significant loss for July. So the bears, they already have something going on. And looking at the stock now, it's not a safe short either. That's a key thing. And if you think of the bulls, right, that still have positions in Super League Gaming, it doesn't really make sense to sell now, when you are at the lows. So yeah, all in all, I do think that the seasonality, it's bearish, but there could be some lighter on the horizon. Next up, we will look at the fundamentals. So in blue, we have price book ratio. We see that we are currently at the same level we had back here in March of this year. And in that case, we did get, a decent rally, 79% here to this high, which is pretty good. I mean, that's not the kind of gain you will have, if you buy Apple or anything like that. So yes, Super League Gaming is very speculative, but when the rallies come, they can come fast and furious. Looking at price to sales ratio, the last time we had this reading was back here. And if, let's say you bought here, not perfect timing, you could have made like 123%. Price earnings, however, isn't as low, but you could make the case that maybe price to sales is one of the more important indicators for a stock like this. Looking at forecasts, with this kind of price, we are below $1, 35 cents here. It's pretty low, but the thing is that the analysts that do cover the stock are super bullish, so that's good. They do think that the stock is undervalued. So when it comes to the fundamentals here, I think I will give the bulls a 7 on the fundamentals. All in all, this is pretty good. Due to the price and market cap of the stock, it doesn't get a lot of attention. But yeah, this stock is very low, and it is at also fundamental support, on top of the support we have on the technicals. So when it comes to doing relative performance, we want to compare it against a relevant industry. And in this case, I do think that the video gaming and esports ETF is interesting, and also Nerd, which is more pure play esports and digital entertainment. So here we are first comparing it against the S&P 500. 17% positive correlation, 86% with the Nerd ETF, and 79% with ESPO. On the daily data points, short term, we do have minus 10% with S&P 500, a measly 2% with Nerd, and minus 4% with ESPO. So looking short and long term, we could make a stronger case for Nerd. So what happens to Nerd is going to have the biggest effect on Super League Gaming. On the topic of double bottoms, this one is emerging from, it's not a textbook double bottom, but it is double bottom-ish. It is also a bit of a lesson about why you sometimes don't even have the opportunity to wait for the double bottom to form. So in this case, the right side of the double bottom, if we were to even call it that, it formed higher than the left, which is not a textbook, but that's actually more bullish. Anyway, we have seen an uptrend after a very substantial downtrend. So when we look at the broader industry here, there seems to be a bit of a turnaround in development, which is pretty good, even though Super League Gaming is a laggard. Yeah, let's look at these other indicators like that. Yeah. Okay, let's look at the seasonality. So July, it's very mixed month. August is weak though. September is the worst, so that's not ideal for Super League gaming, given these correlations. So let's compare it against Nerd, like that. Okay, so massive underperformance from Super League. We are very low. We do not actually get the double bottom here though. Here is where we had the double. So here and here is where we had the double bottom in Super League Gaming, but in this case we do actually have a breakdown, which is not ideal. But there is a bit of a turnaround here for Super League. We got very oversold on RSI. Looking at seasonality, July is a pretty bad month for Super League in this pair. We have an 8% loss so far, but we usually have a bit more underperformance. August, however, recently it's been a month where we see some outperformance from SLGG. But, this isn't like super bullish. So when it comes to relative performance, yeah, I think I give the Bears a -2 here. This wasn't really ideal. So we end up with a 2.3 in favor of the Bulls. We are at a double bottom, and we do have RSI support on the dailies. If we were to lose the double bottom here, that would be pretty bad for the stock. So let's look at trading this stock then. So let's say, okay, so we want to go bullish on Super League Gaming. So where do we put our stop levels? So going below this level would just be not good at all. We don't want to see that. So if you bought the stock today, you would have to accept, it would be approaching 13-ish% stop loss level, which is definitively on the higher end of the spectrum. But you would then risk, 13% to like potentially make, 100+%. So from a risk reward standpoint, if you have multiple of these types of risky trades, but with a potential big upside, then it will work out longer term. So yeah, I do think you could make the case here for Super League Gaming, but this is definitively speculative. But if we compare this gaming stock to, say, Activision Blizzard, right? With the market cap of Activision Blizzard, and where is the market cap? No, it's going to be acquired, so let's ignore. Let's take EA instead. So there is Electronic Arts, a huge player in the space. Market cap, $37 billion, so definitively very big. To get like a 100% move here, it takes a lot, Let's measure from here. Yeah, even from that low, all up to here, you don't even get the 100% gain that you would have gotten very quickly in something like Super League Gaming. But if you were to trade Electronic Arts, then a 13% stop loss level would be like way too much. Then it would be better to like buy at some kind of support level and have a tighter stop, and maybe rather trade the stock multiple times. And that's the key thing about stop loss levels, is that it's very much a function of the security you are trading. So if you expect a big move, then up or down, then you also need to accept a bit more of a stop loss level. That is why I prefer to buy or sell when I have a pretty strong indicator, a signal, because the signal will also then inform me about where I put my stop loss level. Without a signal, it can get pretty dangerous, even if you buy or sell like a mega cap stock, because you then don't really know when to exit. You don't really have a plan. With Super League now, we do have a plan. And if we were to see this turn into a loser, that's really bad, because Super League, it's been in a massive downtrend. If it loses more now, losing the double bottom at these valuations, then it's going to be pretty challenging for the company going forward. Also to retain talent and attract new investors, because obviously investors, they do want a return on their money, and if the stock is going down, that doesn't contribute. So yeah, whatever you do, of course, you do want to let the trend be your friend, and have a great week ahead.